Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I've been wanting to talk about this topic for roughly several days at this point. It's this idea of whether or not XRP's utility will be diminished due to Ripple's own action here. Do you guys remember this headline? I covered this. This is from March 3rd. Ripple pilots a private ledger for central banks launching central bank digital currencies. And so people that, frankly, and I don't mean this in an insulting way at all, but people that, frankly, just don't understand the XRP ecosystem, the way that it's positioned to be a bridge currency by Ripple, and how the utility is actually derived. Like, these people are saying, oh my gosh, Ripple's launching a private ledger for central banks and XRP's not used? Well, what the hell do we need XRP for? And you get all these types of comments, and I've been seeing it all over Twitter for days now, and it really grinds my gears. No, I'm kidding. No, I think by and large it's just people trying to get to the truth that just don't have the necessary information. And so I actually applaud people for asking these questions. The only time it actually burns my biscuits is when there's people that are of the conspiracy theory type that think that, because there's been all sorts of just nonsensical claims in the past, and people are saying this is what it is. But there have been these claims over the past few years about there being a, quote, private ledger that's on the XRP ledger. And that's nonsensical. And so the XRP ledger is actually open source. You can see the code. If there were a, quote, private ledger, you would see it in the code. It wouldn't even really be private at that point, right? I mean, you could say privately controlled if it existed, but it doesn't. And so you see this, which is something completely different. And then you get all the fringe XRP community members, and there aren't that many of them percentage-wise. Most of the XRP community is just fantastic and logic-oriented, and come from all different walks of life. It's really an awesomely diverse crowd, but you do have those fringe people because it's such a big group. Of course, you're going to have like all of God's types of creatures, so to speak, right? But they come out of the woodwork, see, private ledger, this and that, but XRP is not need to be. It's just complete and utter nonsense. Now, I do want to be clear that I don't have a financial background of any kind. I'm not offering financial advice, and so you should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I am simply an enthusiast within the XRP community who likes making YouTube videos about crypto and Ripple and XRP. That is all that it is. I want to be fully transparent about that. Nothing special about me, right? I'm not going to go through this whole article, but there are a couple parts I want to touch on just to make sure the table's properly set and people understand what it is that I'm talking about, because I'm sure there are a number of people that actually missed this story and don't know about it. And even if you remember it, maybe you could use a brief refresher. Ripple is piloting a private version of the public open source XRP ledger that provides central banks a secure, controlled, and flexible solution for the issuance and management of digital currencies. With over 80% of central banks actively exploring some form of sovereign-backed cryptocurrency, new central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs for short, are bound to emerge. Each new CBDC will have unique goals driven by the specific market challenges and opportunities of its country, unavoidably leading to different technologies and implementations, leaving the world with an array of central bank digital currency solutions. Now, I want to be clear here, when we're talking about central bank digital currencies, yes, we're talking about a new digital representation of a fiat currency, but understand that fiat currencies today are already digital. Yes, there's paper money, there's metallic currency, which I hate. I hate metallic currency. Coins, ain't nobody got time. Get out of here. And understand, though, that the monetary policy underlying all of this, whether it's in the current digital form, like even just, let's just use the United States dollar as an example, whether it's the current digital form of the United States dollar, or it's a new blockchain-backed digital version of the United States dollar, nothing functionally changes in terms of monetary policy. What you pick up is efficiencies from a technological perspective. There's nothing different beyond that, right? And so right here, what they're calling this new technology is the CBDC private ledger. And check this out, and this is actually cool, and it kind of speaks to the degree to which XRP is awesome, and the XRP ledger is just freaking built for payments. And it just is. The CBDC private ledger is based on the same blockchain technology that powers the XRP ledger, which means that the CBDC private ledger is built for payments. This also means the CBDC private ledger is designed for issuing currencies, with over 5,400 currencies issued on the XRP ledger over the past 8 years, including its own native digital asset, XRP, which can be leveraged as a neutral bridge for frictionless value movement between central bank digital currencies and other currencies. Yes, exactly. And so, and I've made this case, and there are people that, mostly fringe people again, that told me that I was absolutely wrong, but this is proof that I'm right. This idea that there would be central bank digital currencies issued on the XRP ledger, I said that is nonsense. Because the XRP ledger is decentralized, which is great for the use case of XRP as a bridge currency. Of course you want it decentralized, and a number of other use cases. But can you imagine a nation with its own monetary sovereignty, risking everything on a decentralized system over which they don't have sufficient control? Does that make any logical sense? And there are fringe members of the XRP community that insisted central bank digital currencies would be built on the XRP ledger. And I said no, because really it would just be the issuance of an IOU, because there is a built-in decentralized exchange on the XRP ledger. Got it. You technically could do it, but it would be a freaking train wreck, and there's not a country on the planet that would expose themselves to that type of risk. There's no way that was ever going to happen. Now, given that the XRP ledger is open source, you can take a copy of it and tweak it and make it private, and then use that as the basis for your central bank digital currency, and that is what this is. Now, why is Ripple interested in doing that? Well, frankly, because in doing so, you're evolving the way in which digital money moves around the planet, and XRP is being positioned as a bridge currency, and that absolutely is still needed. So this is a positive development for XRP and the XRP ledger. So if you're an XRP holder, I don't know how you could not be excited about this. This is genuine evolution here. And so I tweeted this out. There have been a number of XRP community members voicing concerns about Ripple's pilot of a private ledger for central banks. Do central bank digital currencies make XRP useless? No, but I welcome the conversation. Click this thread and scroll to the top. Let me know what you think. And so here's the thread that I was referencing here, and I was tagged by XRP Mogul. And so thank you if you're watching. I appreciate you tagging me along with my fellow XRP YouTuber Sam from To the Lifeboats, as well as David Schwartz, who's Ripple CTO and co-creator of the XRP Ledger. And XRP Mogul voiced a concern, which is perfectly fine to do. So people that are simply seeking the truth, you've got to ask questions, and we should foster an environment where it's okay to ask questions, even if on the surface, I can see some people on the surface, they see stuff, and the way a question is framed, and they wonder if like a person is asking the question because there's some sort of underlying belief about the XRP in terms of how it's never going to be adopted, this or that. And I see that type of stuff too, but I'm going to take people at face value until I'm given a reason not to. So if you're asking a question, I'm going to assume you're operating in good faith until you demonstrate that you're not operating in good faith. Because I asked all sorts of questions when I entered the world of crypto and the XRP community in November, and especially November, December, January in particular, those months. Like, you go back to my Twitter feed from back then, I've never deleted anything, except for like little typos here and there, and then I retweeted stuff. But other than that, like the content, it's all still there. I was asking all sorts of questions because I didn't know. I needed to learn. I've been in the world of crypto over 3 years, but everybody's got their starting point, right? So anyway, XRP Mogul wrote the following. Ripple's private ledger for central bank, central bank digital currencies, which is redundant, but that's okay, not a big deal. How or why will it need XRP to run? Liquidity can come from the banks backing the central bank digital currency with real money, and exchange rates set within the closed system. I don't feel this is good for retail XRP holders. To which I responded, central banks aren't trying to replace SWIFT. Is there something that makes you think they'll aim to replace SWIFT after launching their own central bank digital currencies? Remember, fiat currencies are already digital. Central bank digital currencies are just a new form of this digitization. They'll have the same underlying monetary policies. And so I was seeking to understand where their concern was coming from, and that's why I worded what I worded, the way I worded it anyway. To which XRP Mogul responded with the following. If the XRP ledger, bank ledger, which it's technically called the CBDC private ledger, but I assume that's what he was talking about. If the XRPL bank ledger meant central bank digital currencies, then they could exchange currencies cross-border without using the decentralized XRP network. All they need is an oracle for exchange rates. To which I responded, because I do not believe that's the case. It's a perfectly fair question. I just don't believe at all that's what's going to happen, and let's flesh out why. So I wrote the following. What is XRPL bank ledger? So that was me just seeking clarity there. I assumed that he meant central bank digital currency private ledger, which is being piloted. And I wrote, you'll have to flesh out your idea of how you think the mechanics of this would all work, but presumably when you state all that's needed is an oracle for exchange rates, you're talking about information management of a database. And so keep this in mind. The way that money moves around the planet is you're talking about ledgers. And not that this is necessarily completely manually done, but like the United States dollar, just talk about that. The United States dollar, there are ledgers, right? And they are digital versions, but it's not like physical money is coming in and moving all of this around. Like, consider this: if money needs to be debited or credited, let's just say there are two entities. I don't care if it's a bank and maybe a bank and a business, or a bank and a bank, or a business and a business sending money from one to the other. Let's just stick with banks. Let's just stick with banks, because I don't want to get into like the business application of the way in which XRP could be used as a bridge currency. I might kind of muddy the waters a little bit. Let's just stick with banks. So they debit and credit each other, and so money's not actually moving. Numbers on a spreadsheet are changing within a database. That's all that's happening. If money needs to flow from one bank to another, then it's crossed off from one ledger and then delivered to the next. But there isn't really delivery. It's just a message saying, okay, this account has this much less, and now we're crediting that much on this other account. And there are central authorities that are making this possible, and it does require trust. You have to trust that they're doing this properly, right? And so that's functionally how this is working today. When you're talking about a central bank digital currency, though, it's just more so automated. If you're going to utilize XRP style ledger, you're talking about blockchain technology, and it's just automatically done. So you can pick up efficiencies, and since it's encrypted, it's verifiably accurate. And so there are technological improvements, but again, the monetary policy underlying all of it, it's still the same. Nothing there changes whatsoever. And so I wrote the following. Actually, let me read the last sentence so I got the right flow. But presumably when you state all that's needed is an oracle for exchange rates, you're talking about information management of a database. If so, then why isn't that being done today? Right? There isn't something about an oracle or payments messaging that inherently would work better in this use case with a central bank digital currency over the legacy financial system. So the point that I'm making is, functionally, the monetary policy, it's still in place. So what given that this would be a technological shift, you'd pick up efficiencies, but that's pretty much all it is. What fundamentally would change to where central banks would basically want to pre-fund each other? Because they could do that today with the current digital model that's in place with the United States dollar and Mexican peso, pick your fiat currency. They can already do that. So functionally, what is changing with this technology shift that would make banks now want, central banks, mind you, what would make them want to pre-fund each other to move money around the planet? Why would they want to take over that private sector activity, which banks are engaging in right now? Because SWIFT is bank owned, mind you. Like, why would they want to take that over? Like, what's the benefit? Why are they going to nationalize an industry like that? Why would the United States? Because historically, like, the United States doesn't nationalize a whole lot of industries. There's a bit of that as things evolve, let's say. But why would they do? Well, they're not. There's no indication that they're going to, and it wouldn't make sense. And if they want to do it now, why haven't they done it in the past? Well, there's all sorts of reasons, including it's not in their wheelhouse. Like, this is not something that they specialize in. And why would they nationalize this industry and not like 5 other ones? It just doesn't make a lick of sense. And if I were a bank, I'd be pissed off if I'm making money on the buying and selling of funds, like just, throughout the traditional correspondent banking system. I'd be pissed off if that were happening here. And I wrote, this is my last tweeter in this thread, the issues of trust will still be at play. Accounts will still need to be pre-funded if there's no liquidity that's on tap. Also, with central bank digital currencies, decentralization isn't even desirable. So what makes XRP obsolete in your view in a world where every nation has its own centralized central bank digital currency? And I didn't hear back from him, but I think I kind of made my point sufficiently. So hopefully that kind of cleared it up for me. He didn't feel like a need to continue engaging on this topic. And then there was this also from Jack the Rippler: central bank digital currency connection with the private XRP ledger for dummies. And then he cites how it functionally works. Liquidity, so you have central bank digital currency, and then it goes to XRP and is converted back to a different central bank digital currency. And that's how it works too with the traditional financial system today. Pick a currency, whether it's the current digital version of it, not a central bank digital currency yet, but it's the same thing. It doesn't matter. And so somebody named Peter responded and wrote, If it was really that simple, my question would have been answered by now. And David Schwartz, Monica Long, and Matt Hamilton, all Ripple employees, and wrote, will the private ledger have its own private version of XRP that banks can use as an interoperable bridge for sending funds to a bank or on a different XRP private ledger? And no offense to Peter whatsoever, but the question doesn't make sense, and so there's a fundamental misunderstanding how it works. You wouldn't need XRP on a blockchain with a central bank digital currency. The point is that it's a separate blockchain that is a bridge, and so he's missing that. Ripple employee Matt Hamilton wrote, there is no private XRP. XRP exists and lives on the XRP ledger. Anything else is just an IOU/token for that XRP. And Peter wrote, thank you. So two private ledgers that want to send funds between each other have no choice but to use XRP as the bridge for doing so, ? There are not other options. And so I responded, I wrote, you can bridge the ledgers with whatever you want, but XRP is technologically ideal for this use case. Also, corridors need to be in place for true global adoption along with sufficient liquidity. This doesn't just happen, and only Ripple is trying to build something like this today. And then Peter wrote, Monica's post, we're talking about Monica Long, Ripple employee, said private ledger runs parallel with XRP ledger, so they will not collide for now. Wouldn't that mean that the private ledger would also need its own specific native asset? Well, yeah, it does, but the native asset would be the central bank digital currency itself, which would ultimately need to be bridged with XRP in order to efficiently move money around the planet. So that's what it looks like. So anyway, I hope this kind of squashed any sort of FUD or concerns that people had about whether or not the central bank, central bank digital currency private ledger is good or bad. It's an evolution. It's an evolution of the way money moves around the planet, and it's just further helping to position XRP to be used as that bridge. That's the way I look at it. So to me, it's nothing but a net plus, but I'll wrap up there. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.